Nick, I guess when you kind of like rewatch the tape from last night, maybe like what's the biggest thing that stood out to you and something maybe you want to like correct, I guess, going forward.
I mean, the biggest thing is just more of an overall thing that we just weren't moving great. You know, just a step slow, reaction step slow on everything, and that just will lead you into you know a lot of issues, right? I think that start with defense, they were just bias, and just again, just reaction was slow, movement was slow, throws you out of rhythm on offense, all those. So just piled up. It was just, and it was everybody. It was just like it was everybody on the team. So that was it. Not It's hard to judge like what you're doing wrong when that's kind of the overriding problem of everything. So we just gotta, again, I say those are gonna happen 2 or 3 times a year. Super, it's unfortunate, but you gotta get rid of that as fast as you can. Get back to work and snap out of it and get ready to compete and be who you were the other 15, 16 games of the year, whatever it is.
It seems that your guys have been in pretty good spirits
Mm-hmm.
considering what happened last night.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jabari said that the vibes are still high. And,
Yeah.
I think guys in the locker room kind of understood what happened a little bit. You know, what does that speak to? Just the overall context of the culture that you guys are trying to build.
Yeah, so I would say this. I think that it's a late game. You're short on numbers. Guys obviously, physically, challenging night for them, right? And you wonder, what do you do the next day? What are you going to be able to get out of it, all that kind of stuff. But I feel like we get in here this morning and guys are here and they're on the court, they're doing their stuff. There's some pop in what they're doing. They're back to work. And I think that is what you need to do. I think it's a good sign of that's where their heads are at again. And that's all we're asking them to do, is to continue to do what they've done. I've stressed that over and over, that the amount of effort and work and stuff that they've put in has been as high as it can be. And even though you get punched in the mouth last night repeatedly, you got to be able to come back and do it again. Keep that mindset and that process going. Yeah.
Obviously, we just got the news about Trendon. What do you miss with him on the offensive?
Well, we were just getting ready to get used to him, right? That he's going to kind of be this Swiss Army knife kind of guy that plays probably anywhere from 1 to 4 for us and move him around. But I think he had a good knack of getting us some timely buckets, good knack of setting up things for other people, kind of can guard, versatile player positions. He can guard multiple positions. So that's kind of a lot of stuff, right?
I guess on the flip side of that, we also talked to Dem today, and he seemed
Yep.
encouraged and
Yep.
optimistic that he's going to be back on Friday. Just where will you most appreciate his presence? Again,
Well,
once
I
he's
think
back?
I think probably mostly is that we don't go from like I think we need that position manned by 2 people,
Yeah.
right? And I think Drum's done a great job, but you can see as the games kind of stack up and it gets to be a lot for one guy, right? And I think that the other guys have tried to fill in, but again, it just gets a little small certain nights. So that's the biggest thing, that he can help shore up that position over 48, right? And I think again we certainly need what he brings us: energy, rim protection, some shot blocking. Those are all, when you think back about what he was giving us here, it was maybe not 20 minutes of amazing play, but there was always that spurt of 3 or 4 minutes that were that like gets you to the next part of the game or sparks you on a momentum run or whatever. So yeah, we'll be happy. Hey, he looked pretty good today, so it'll be good. Hopefully things go okay and he makes her back by Friday.
How did VJ and Paul look today in practice?
Yeah, they were both out there. I think I would say they looked pretty good. I don't want to, like, I know they're out there. They did everything, both all the way through. Again, it wasn't a ton of stuff, obviously coming off last night, but it was they did both make it through, and we'll just, again, we got a couple days yet, so hopefully we can get at least one, hopefully both of them back, yeah.
You mentioned Drummond. Obviously, he's been one of the best rebounders of like this era of basketball in general. But like, what is it about him that he's so good at that like very specific skill? Just in your when you see him every day, not just in games.
No, I
you
mean,
guys are working
yeah,
together.
no, he obviously knows like that's a strength of his, and I think he plays to that. Like I think he really you know, has some timing and just a sense, and like he really wants to go grab them. I mean, you can see him. I mean, sometimes he'll knock down 3 of our own guys to get one, right? I mean, he wants that thing. Like it's part of. I think he's figured that out for a long time. That you know, hey, I can make a living just rebounding, and right. And I think he's you know still doing that, but it's just kind of who he is and how he plays, and he's doing it at a high level right now.
He talked about even going back to training camp, like this off season, kind of. I don't know if like rediscovering himself or just sort of how he processed last year. Like, did you sense that in him when he came back from the
I wasn't
summer?
sure.
Or,
I wasn't sure, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that, you know, as a coaching staff, you can only evaluate the body of work you've seen. And, you know, I was upfront with him and told him that what I saw last year wasn't going to cut it. And I think, you know, you guys obviously know, I told you Bona like beat him out through training camp and all that. If Joel was playing, he was third, and he'd have to play his way out of that. And he's done that. I give him credit. I think he's worked hard. I think he's in much better shape than he ever was last year. He's obviously, you know, again, he's getting to the basketball easier than he did a year ago. Goes through these stretches where he's dominant on the defensive glass that we never really saw a year ago. So he's picked it up. So he must have sensed it, right? And give him credit for that.
What's the sense of urgency for a guy like that who's 32 years old?
Yep.
And, you know,
Well,
like you say, last year was contract, and it's like.
there you go. I was just gonna say the sense of urgency goes pretty high for guys in their last year of their contract that want to keep playing, for sure. Yeah.
Green got an extended run
Yep.
last night. What you make of him, and just in general, how do you evaluate guys in these blowout situations?
Hard to evaluate. I thought he had a chance at having a really good night if he would have tipped about 3 or 4 of those ones in. I'm not quite sure how he moved people out of there to get all those opportunities. I think that's kind of one of the things he does, but he was playing against much bigger guy and somehow kept getting a chance at those tip ins, and none of them really went in. But you know, I think if they would have, I mean, that was just like piling on from the night. That's kind of, I mean, how many balls did we have that rolled off like that probably were close enough or good enough to go in on another night. So I did like that part of it. And offensively, I thought he was okay. And again, really hard to judge anything defensively last night. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.